Hey kiddos, it's Jordan.
And Quinn, and this is Jordan and Quinn Explain Stuff.
Jordan and Quinn Explain Stuff, the super cool show where two girls, one named Jordan and one named Quinn, explain lots of cool stuff.
Today we're going to be telling you about
What would life be like if you didn't have the option to think and express your thoughts freely?
Ugh, oranges are gross. Let's do some sharing. Turn to your partner and talk about an unpopular opinion.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks to your freedom of thought and expression in Canada, you are able to share all those unpopular opinions.
In some places, your thoughts and expressions are limited, even if you don't agree with it.
It's 5.
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
It's 5.
In Canada, we're pretty dang lucky.
Tons of countries around the world don't have the same kind of creative liberation, and many citizens experience things like media censorship.
This does not only limit your ability to share your words, but it also inhibits you from hearing more than one way of thinking, thus skewing your worldview. Freedom of thought and expression is a fundamental human right. A simple definition of Section 2B of the Canadian Charter is
the protection of your freedom to think, believe, form opinions, and express yourself. This includes the freedom of the press and other forms of media communication.
Freedom of thought and expression is incredibly important in society as it allows for individuality and diversity. Without it, we would never advance as a society because we would never have any differing opinions.
But let's talk about when it goes too far. In Alberta, in 1990, there was a classroom similar to the one that you're sitting in right now, with a qualified teacher similar to the one that you're looking at.
Could I invite Mr. B up to the front to demonstrate a regular lesson that took place in this particular Alberta classroom?
Disclaimer, Mr. B does not believe in this, so do not hold this against him.
Wow, shocking. Turn to the person next to you and describe how it made you feel to hear Mr. B say that.
We are all pretty intelligent individuals in this room, and I believe it is safe to say that what you just saw was incorrect and wrong.
Now imagine this is the only thing you ever heard about the matter.
And you're hearing this from the influential individual that you trust.
You're probably gonna believe it.
This is exactly what happened with an Alberta high school teacher named Mr. Geekstra.
In his social studies classroom, he expressed anti-Semitic statements as well as vocalized that he was a Holocaust denier.
After authorities got wind of these bold words uttered by Mr. Keekstra to a group of impressionable teens, he was taken to court and charged under Section 319 of the Criminal Code of Canada for willfully promoting hatred against an identifiable group.
Keekstra argued that his charge violated his Section 2B of the Charter, freedom of thought and expression.
Do you think this was a reasonable charge?
Or were Mr. Keekstra's rights infringed upon? Talk to a partner. Chief Justice Dickinson had two major questions to look at.
The first question was if Section 319 willingly promoted hatred against an identifiable group of people was infringing on Section 2B of the Charter, your right to thought and expression.
Chief Justice Dickinson decided that the expression at hand publicly promoted hate. Therefore, he determined that government action had to be taken to limit this freedom of hateful expression.
The second portion of the decision, if the limitation on freedom of expression could be upheld under Section 1 of the Charter as reasonably by law and justified in freedom and democratic society.
The judge used a similar approach as the Regina versus Oaks case, which we discussed previously in class, where it was first established that the objective of legislation was of a pressing and substantial nature. The judge decided that the objective of the legislation was both, because expression promoting hatred to identifiable groups limits multiculturalism in Canada.
Majority, as well as Justice McLaughlin, agree that Keekstra's right to freedom of expression was being limited. Although they agreed that the limitations were of a justable reason, they were not justified under Section 1 of the Charter.
In the end, it was decided that Keekstra would not be imprisoned, since it was decided that jail time does not limit or end hate propaganda. It was also said that the Charter suffered from vagueness and broadness in this case.
So, turn to a partner and talk to them about whether or not you think Keektra should or should have not been charged. Then, we will do a vote.
I think he should have been.
I think he should have.
Should have.
Shouldn't.
Should.
Shouldn't.
Should. Should. The right to freedom of thought and expression in Canada is a fundamental freedom.